6 sentences. That's the whole video. By the end, they'll be on the back of an envelope, in your handwriting. Not treatment, not advice. Sentences. 6 moments in a hospital where a woman past 70 quietly loses ground, and the words that stop each one. Words you'd say to a plumber without blinking. In a hospital, we go quiet. Meet Edith, my neighbor of 30 years, 71, and honestly, sharper than most of this road. She went in on a Tuesday. The letter said 2 nights. She came home on the Saturday. What she was in for is her own business, and it isn't the point, because nothing that went wrong that week was medical. It was paper, a shift change, and questions nobody thought to ask. Here's the deal at this table. No lectures. Nobody is asking you to argue with a doctor. I wouldn't dare. Words, not medicine. So count along with me. 6 moments, and tally the ones you'd have known to speak up in. Look, mine comes at the end, and it isn't impressive. 4 nights, 6 moments. And the 5th lands in the last 10 minutes, when everybody's in a hurry. Moment 1 arrives at 11 at night, politely. A nurse leans round the curtain. "We need this bed, love. Moving you two along." Edith is halfway into her cardigan before she's awake. Recognize that? Well, somebody in a uniform needs a bed, and up we get. Terry the porter takes the brake off, 2 bays down, new sheets, same slippers, and her stick still on the bed she'd left. Nobody forgot anything. The stick was simply filed with the bed. A stick on a bed rail is like the key on a string by the back door. It belongs to the door, not a person. Paint the door, and the key ends up in a drawer nobody claims. At 4 in the morning, Edith reached for a rail that was somebody else's. That floor was cold enough to wake her twice. Edith has an answer for that now, and the whole fix is 7 words. Whatever walks with me, moves with me. Then she names them: stick, glasses, water. It isn't a demand, it's a list, and a list is easy for a busy person to obey because it takes 4 seconds. Try it with me right now. Say your 3. Now, the next moment has nothing to do with your things. 8 o'clock, twice a day, and it's the tidiest of the 6. Moment 2 arrives at 8 o'clock, morning and night, when the whole building changes hands. Really, it's the calmest thing you'll ever watch. 2 people at the end of the bay, 1 folder, 3 minutes, every name on the ward handed across the way you hand somebody your keys. Edith's folder was handed across beautifully. What was inside it was written on the Tuesday, and it was now Thursday. I'm not saying a word about what's on anybody's list. That's between you and your doctor. I'm talking about the paper. A list is like a shopping list written on Sunday and carried to the shop on Thursday. Nothing on it is wrong. It's just older than the fridge. One thing you stopped in the spring is still on it. The folder is warm from the last pair of hands, and that means the only thing up to date about it is the temperature. Edith does 2 things now. Before she even packs, she writes the list herself, in biro, one side of 1 card. You've done exactly that, at your own kitchen table. The cat supervises, as the cat does. Then, in the ward, comes the fix, the tidiest question of the 6. Can we read my list back to each other? Nobody has ever said no, not once, as far as I know. 40 seconds, and any nurse would rather spend 40 than find out on the Friday. And the next one costs more than a folder. It costs a whole day, and it goes missing while everybody's being kind to you. Thursday, a doctor stops at the end of the bed, kind as anything, and says the gentlest sentence in the language. "We'll just keep an eye on you." Lovely. Edith hears, "Stay put." Nobody meant that. Nobody said it either. I mean, that's just what anybody hears. So she sat. Breakfast, lunch, tea, 1 crossword, 3 chapters. Sound familiar? We've all sat that still, being good. 22 hours in 1 chair, and her only journey was to the loo and back. And here is the bit that matters. Edith came home and couldn't manage her own stairs, and this road said the same thing. Well, she's 71. She is. She was also 71 on the Tuesday, walking in with her own bag. 4 days of sitting still is not an age. It's a Thursday. That gentle sentence is like being told to wait in a parked taxi. It says nothing about getting out to stretch your legs. And nobody asks, because asking feels like being difficult. The seat of that chair went warm and stayed warm. Fix number 3 is a question. One you ask, not a decision you make. Is there any reason I shouldn't walk to the window? That's all of it. Listen, If they say not yet, then it isn't yet, and now you know instead of guessing. If they say go on, then you've had a walk. Edith asks it each morning and again after supper, and says the asking was easier than the sitting. Moment 4 never happened in that building at all. It happened at her house, which nobody there had ever seen. 14 steps, 1 bend at the 9th. Bathroom upstairs, no loo down. The bin sits at the bottom of a step you step down to reach, designed in 1960-something by a man who never carried a bin bag. That's Edith's house. Everybody planning her Saturday worked from a box on a form marked Home Circumstances, and the box said, Lives alone. That's the whole house. Lives alone is not a house. It's like ordering a sofa without measuring the bend in the stairs. Nothing wrong with the sofa, nothing wrong with the stairs, and those two will never meet. Same plan, wrong house. A plan for going home is built out of facts about the home, and the only person holding those facts is you. Nobody withholds them, of course. Nobody asks either. The form didn't ask, and the form is what's lying there, still warm off the printer at 20 past 4. Now the 4th. Edith describing her own house unasked. That's the fix. 3 facts because 3 get remembered. My bathroom is upstairs, 14 steps with a bend. Nobody's in till 6. The young woman with the folder wrote all 3 down, then said something Edith has quoted ever since. Nobody ever tells us that. Try saying your 3 now. In your head. Bathroom, stairs, who's home? Whoever plans your Saturday plans it out of 1 box on a form. Which brings us to the 10 minutes when that plan changes hands. Saturday, 20 to 5. Everybody's been on since 7. Everybody's lovely. Everybody's late. A brown envelope lands on the bed. It's all in there. Edith says thank you. She's been thanking people for 4 days and puts it in her bag. Heard yourself do that? Thanking somebody while they hand you a thing you haven't read. It stayed in that bag until Monday. A letter read in silence is a letter nobody read. It isn't laziness, it's what paper does when it changes hands in a hurry, like the instruction sheet in a flat pack box, technically supplied. Edith opened hers on the Monday, in daylight, glasses on, and found 1 line she'd have wanted on the Saturday, a phone number, and beside it, if anything changes, ring us first. It had ridden about in her bag through 2 nights and a Sunday roast. The 5th fix takes 11 seconds. Which line in here is the one for me? Then the half that matters more. Who do I ring, and what would make me ring them? We don't guess at that answer. Or rather, we don't have to. We ask the person who knows to say it out loud and to write the number where you'll find it at midnight. Between us, a fridge door is the finest filing cabinet in the house. Edith's sits under a magnet shaped like a strawberry. And yes, you're already wondering who's at the door when you get home. That's moment 6, and you set it up a day early from the bed. Saturday, 5:30, the drop-off outside the main doors. A taxi, a driver who stays in his seat, 3 bags, clothes, get-well things, and the heaviest of the lot, the one full of paper. Edith gets to her own front door, then stands on the step in the rain holding all 3, working out which pocket the key went into on the Tuesday. Know that bit? Anyway, nobody here did anything wrong. There just wasn't a person at the other end because nobody had been asked to be one. Dorothy, from over the road, has never once come home to an empty doorstep, and it isn't because she's organized. It's Biscuit. That dog wants walking at 4 whether Dorothy's in the country or not, so somebody always knows when she's due back. Biscuit takes no excuses. Never has. Dorothy calls him a nuisance. He is, in fact, the best run bit of planning on this road, and a dog arranged all of it. The 6th fix is a phone call made the day before to a neighbor, a nephew, anybody. I'm coming home tomorrow, about 4. Can you be at the door? It's the only one that costs somebody else anything. 20 minutes and a kettle. Ask anyway. People say yes far more often than we let them. Edith's cat was on the step when she came back the 2nd time, which the cat regards as a favor and I regard as a coincidence. The last 100 yards of a hospital stay are the ones nobody plans, and they decide how the whole week goes. 2 weeks on, Edith's back at the bakery, which is the only proof this road accepts. The girl at the counter had put a loaf aside every day she was away and wouldn't take money for one of them. And Terry, the porter who moved her bed in the middle of the night, keeps a roll of masking tape in his top pocket now. Edith's stick has her name on it in his handwriting. 4 more sticks since. Okay, walk me through it. You go in on the Tuesday with your own bag. They move you at 11 at night and the stick comes too, because you said the words. 8 o'clock, the folder changes hands and your card gets read back. Thursday, somebody offers to watch and wait, and you ask about the window. Before anybody plans your Saturday, they know your bathroom is upstairs. The envelope arrives at 20 to 5 and gets read on the spot, and the day before you come home, somebody's been told what time to be at the door. 6 sentences, and not one argues with a doctor. My own tally, since I promised, 2. 2 out of 6, after a lifetime of being told I talk too much. Whatever yours is, it's no mark against you. 6 sentences, and they cost nothing but the nerve to say them. She rang a week later to report she'd been up and down her own stairs 4 times before lunch, and that none of this makes a hospital stay pleasant. It just makes you the person in the room who knows what to ask. As for the cat, the discharge letter sat on that kitchen table for 9 days, and the cat lay on it for 8. The only one in the household who read the notes cover to cover, and she did it by lying on them. Here's what that week left me with, and I was slow to see it. I used to think being polite and being looked after were the same thing. They're not. Nobody in that building was against Edith. They were busy, and busy is a current. You drift in it until somebody says the thing out loud. After 60, the voice is the part of us that still works perfectly. Ours just got quieter in corridors. It can get louder on the way out. And now the serious minute. The one even friends over tea have a rule about. Everything you've heard today is everyday observation, not medical advice. We talked about paperwork, words, and doorsteps, not treatment, and not anybody's tablets. With any question about how you're feeling, or about what's on your list, please talk to your doctor. Edith takes hers a card now, gone soft at the corners from living in her handbag. She says it saves them both a job. So, the back of an envelope, and 6 lines on it. Tell me in the comments how many you'd have known to say. You're among friends here, and mine was nothing to boast about. Then say them out loud to one person who's got a hospital letter on their fridge. Next time we're back at this table for the other paper nobody reads aloud. The one that arrives before you ever go in and quietly decides how your first hour goes. Edith's envelope is still on her table. 6 lines, in biro, in her handwriting.